Steph put in here a pretty interesting thing, us trying to run through these divisions and how we think that they're going to play out when it's all said and done. And now our opinions can change. Injuries do happen. We can be higher on teams than other people and then realize that, hey, maybe we were a little overzealous with how these teams are going to go. So this is subject to change throughout the course of the season. And by the way, it's okay to change your mind. I know everyone thinks it's like a sign of weakness whenever you change your mind. It's actually, no, the gathering of information. And what separates me from like an ape, right, is like I can actually sit there and utilize this information and change my mind and make a decision based off of all of that. So as we sit right now, however, AFC East, Buffalo Bills for the both of us, New England Patriots bringing up the rear for the both of us. But we do have different 2s and 3s. I went Dolphins, Jets. You went Jets, Dolphins. It would not surprise me either one of these outcomes here. It wouldn't surprise me if the Jets and the Dolphins end up with the same record. Like I think there's a whole bunch of different scenarios here for these top 3 teams. The only thing I'm dead set on is the Patriots being 4th in this division. If you told me there was a scenario that played out that the Jets overtook the Bills or even the Dolphins overtook the Bills, it wouldn't blow me away. What would blow me away is if the Patriots ended up 2nd in this division, and if they won the division, then I would be like, that'd be the craziest thing in the world to me. So the only thing that I'm really, really, really into is them being last in this division.
Oh, and you look at that schedule too. I mean, the first 4: Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, Cowboys. Ouch. I mean, that's not great. And they have to go to Miami, somewhere they've traditionally really struggled. I expect New England to be better this year, but everyone in this division, except maybe Buffalo, is better this year. Mm-hmm. And I think Buffalo is still the class of this division. It's going to be interesting to see the Jets and the Dolphins there. If Jalen Ramsey was in the Dolphins lineup for the full season, I may have had the Dolphins above the Jets. I think that injury matters that much. You've got Vic Fangio coming in there. He's going to want to run a 2-high shell and press with 4. Miami has the defensive line to press with 4. They're going to get pressure on the quarterback, but unfortunately for them, they don't have the cornerback talent now to be able to run bump and run on the outside, which is something Fangio likes to do as well. So going to be interesting to see how the Dolphins are able to handle that. One thing I like here on DraftKings, they offer you the exact matchup here, exact order of finish in these divisions. I think there's some really interesting ones, especially if you can key in on 1st and 4th like you can with the Bills and the Patriots here. You can then play both options and get over plus 300 to 1 on both options. Or 300, plus 300 on both options. So you can create a portfolio of plus 150 for bets that the Bills will finish first, the Patriots will finish last.
Yeah, I mean, if we look right now, it is plus 450 to go Bills, Jets, Dolphins, Patriots, and it is 5 to 1 to go Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Patriots. So like you said, you could put both in your account if you feel really confident that the Bills win and you feel really confident that the Patriots are going to be the last place team. Plus 450, plus 500, like you said, guarantee yourself some money.
Pretty darn good when you're getting plus 120 on the Bills to win the division. And you're getting plus 225 at worst if you blend those two.
Yeah, over in the North, we have a pretty big difference here at the top because I still think Cincinnati is the class of this division. I have Cincinnati, Cleveland, Baltimore, Pittsburgh. You have the Browns as the winner of the AFC North. Bengals, Ravens, and Steelers. We both have the Steelers coming in 4th. We both have the Ravens coming in 3rd. We just flip-flop who we have kind of 1 and 2 here.
Yeah, I think any team could win this division. This is the one I was least confident in. The division I will absolutely not bet an exact order betting. Because you could literally tell me it finishes in any permutation.
Unlike what we just talked about.
Yes.
If the Patriots won that division, I'd be blown away. If the Steelers won this one, I would be like, wow, that's crazy, but I would not be blown away.
No, not at all. And I don't want to mean any disrespect by putting the Steelers in 4th there. There's 3 very good teams that are sitting right above them in this spot. So I went with the Browns here. I think you're going to see a lot better Deshaun Watson. I like what I saw in the preseason compared to those previous 6 games. There are defensive weapons here for Cleveland as well that should take a step forward. And by the way, very good offensive line. And Nick Chubb still plays for the Browns too. So I like this Browns team.
Talking about the AFC North and how we were very, very all over the place with this one. And again, I can't stress enough when I say I do believe this to be the division of death. I do believe that this has the most variance maybe of any of the divisions out there. And I cannot stress when I say it's not hyperbole, and I'm not saying this just for the clip, that if the Steelers won this division, while it would be like, oh, that's interesting, it would not shock me in the least bit. I think that all of these teams are probably, if the Steelers were in a different division, I might be looking at them as a playoff team, but the problem is they play 6 of their games against these teams, and it's very hard for me to get there because of that. But outside of that, I think the team's pretty talented, and we talked about it in segment 2 of this show today, where Kenny Pickett looked like he has taken a step towards being a real NFL quarterback as well, if you look at what he was able to put together in the preseason. So for me, yeah, it would be like a kind of a if they won the division. Certainly not anything where my jaw would drop.
I kind of feel like we're almost disrespecting the Ravens, too, here. Mm-hmm. We both have them in third. Very good football team. They could be a lot better on the offensive side of the ball. And when you look at that division board there for exact finish and the odds available, no one minus money to finish any position. Mm-hmm. So that tells you just how wide open it is. You're getting plus money if you want any spot, 1 through 4, for any one of these teams. So going to be difficult to kind of place these teams out. I'm not going to make a single bet in this division before the season starts. I want to see the Browns with Deshaun Watson. I want to see this new offense with Todd Monken, what he's going to do with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. And I want to kind of get an edge in the schedule. And when there are certain spots in the schedule, I think certain teams have advantages, and that's when I want to get involved, not preseason here.
If you want to see the short shot in this one, it is Cincinnati, Baltimore, Cleveland, Pittsburgh. That comes in at 6-1. The 7.5 version goes Bengals, Browns, Ravens, Steelers. So that's where we get the 7.5 whenever we're looking at the AFC North. Again, all of those, if you go in, it is a tab under the NFL button over on DraftKings, and it says Division Specials. And then under Division Specials, it'll say exact order if you're looking for something like that. There's also the 1-2s like you were talking about a little bit earlier, just a top 2. That's also in there. So there's all of those things that you can go and take a look at. Let's head to the AFC South. This one is a little bit tricky, mainly because I don't know about the bottom 2, right? Like I'm very confident, and we talked about this in planting our flags, in the Jacksonville Jaguars to win the AFC South. I don't know who's going to be worse, the Texans or the Colts. We have it flip-flopped. Both of us have the Titans second. We have the Texans and the Colts flip-flopped. Honestly, it doesn't matter. Like, it could be either way for me. I don't, could the Texans squeak out 6 or 7 wins? Probably. Could the Colts squeak out 6 or 7 wins? Probably. It doesn't really... I'm not confident either way about that. So all I'm very, very confident about is the Jags are going to win this division.
I had a more difficult time with 2-3 than I did 3-4. Mm-hmm. I think Houston is clearly the worst team in this division. I think I planted my flag on C.J. Stroud enough here over the last couple of weeks. I don't think he's going to be nearly as good. I think Indianapolis is a little bit interesting there from a quarterback position, new head coach as well, that they could take a jump up. And then this Tennessee Titans team, and we talked about it, the start of the year, the schedule's brutal. We could see them out at a 1-6 start. And if that's the case, all of a sudden, Tannehill's gone. Derrick Henry's gone. This team could start that fire sale pretty early if they don't think they can make the playoffs, because they don't have long-term contract commitments to some of these guys. So I had much more difficulty with who is second in this division than I did who is fourth in this division.
Yeah, if you're looking the short shot in this one, Jags, Titans, Colts, Texans, and that is just plus 310, if you were wondering, and how the exact order goes there. The Jags, Colts, Titans, Texans comes in at plus 425. The 550 version is the Jags, Titans, Texans, Colts. So again, as long as the Jags are on top, things get all mixed and matched in there. But guess what, man? The odds are not very long on some of these. 310, 425, which kind of goes to what we were saying with this division. Now, if we do look at the bottom, right? I mean, what do you think, though? You do think the Texans are going to be bad, but what's a bull case for the Texans in your opinion?
Oh man,
like 7 wins?
Oh, I don't think they can get to 7. And I realize that means we should be playing their under on the season total as well, which is sitting there at 6.5. I actually considered their alt under as one of my flags I wanted to plant. This team is better than last year's Texans team.
Yeah,
probably 3.5 points on a neutral. Last year's Texans team was awful. They were really bad. The offensive line is not good. You've got a rookie quarterback. The weapons are terrible. On Sharp Money, we're talking about the 5 worst positions to be a quarterback. I had Houston at number 1, the worst position in the NFL to be a quarterback stepping into, because of the weapons on the outside combined with the offensive line. Defense isn't that good either. Like Will Anderson Jr., I think is going to be very good in 2 years. I don't think he's going to be a game breaker his rookie season here to the level that actually is able to win them some football games. I don't know where the big plays come from. I don't know where the big defensive stops come from. I don't know how they're going to press the passer. I don't love their secondary. There's just not anything to like about this team that really needs to go through the full rebuild here.
Yeah, I mean, one thing, if you do want to look, as far as that offensive line goes, at least at the most important position on the field, you have Laramie Tunsil, one of the best left tackles in the game. So you do at least have that going for you there. Remember, John Mechie is going to be back for this team as well. Now, we don't know exactly what he's going to do in his rookie year, but it's probably a better option than you've got right now with Nico Collins and Robert Woods and all the. I mean, like can only assume that Mechie's going to end up earning a ton of targets, in this offense with the way that this is kind of shaping up on paper. Anyway, they're not devoid completely of talent on the defensive side of the ball. They've got Jimmy Ward. They have Sheldon Rankins. Again, Will Anderson, what he is able to do in his rookie seasons. They're not like completely devoid of talent, but Derek Stingley certainly needs to step up and play a lot better. He was one of the actually lowest graded corners in all of the NFL last season, so he's going to have to play better for sure. I don't know. I mean, I think when it all comes down to it, I kind of look at the Colts and the Texans almost the same, mainly because I don't have a lot of high hopes for Anthony Richardson, but I think you're higher on Anthony Richardson than I am. I think Anthony Richardson is probably going to go through some pretty big growing pains with that accuracy that he has right now.
I agree with you there. I just the what we saw from Justin Fields makes me believe in Anthony Richardson a little bit more. I like the fact that you have the legs to go with the arm so that you can get out of there, you can scramble, and you can create variance in the running game from the quarterback position. I guess the bull case for the Texans is the Colts and the Titans stink.
Yeah.
Right. And then you get 4 games against those two teams, and you're playing a fourth place schedule, and that's how you're able to kind of get over the hump and get to that 6.5, 7 win total.
Let's look at the AFC West. In this one, we have the Chiefs at the top, and we do have the Raiders at the bottom. So another one of those divisions where I'm pretty confident about the top and pretty confident about the bottom. We do flip-flop the two different teams here in the Chargers and the Broncos, and this is where I'm going to need you to do you got some splaining to do here, Mike. I mean, this Denver team was absolutely atrocious last year. You must think that Russell Wilson is not completely washed.
Well, I have Russell Wilson as my 13th best quarterback going into the season, which I realize is high, but I don't think he could possibly be as bad as he was last year. And Jeff Hackett was one of the 5 worst coaches I've seen in the NFL. I mean, the decision-making process, he looked like a deer in the headlights.
Nathaniel Hackett, yes.
Nathaniel Hackett, I'm sorry, yes. They were 29th in pre-snap penalties, both offensively and defensively last year. It just shows you how unprepared that team was. The decision to kick the football in week 1 in Seattle was atrocious. The play calling and the route trees you saw ran in the red zone was awful for Russell Wilson consistently throughout last year. I just feel like when you get Sean Payton in there, you're going to see such a big upgrade. And like I said earlier, when you looked at the Giants last year and what happened when you had an adult in the room with Brian Daboll, that you saw them take that step forward. I think you're going to see the Denver Broncos take that exact same step forward this year. And if you like the Chiefs to win the division, they're winning 12, 13, 14 games. If I've got the Broncos second here, they're winning 10 or 11. All of a sudden, it's hard for the Chargers to get up to the win total and be able to get above the Broncos at that 10 or 11 mark. Wouldn't be shocked if they both end up in that 11 and 6 range. But I like the upside for the Broncos at the price you're currently paying for them.
Yeah, I just think the talent is just not there comparatively to the Chargers. I mean, I understand we haven't seen the Chargers actually put it together on the field quite yet, but you take a look. I mean, the offensive coordinator switch cannot be underrated here. I mean, this is a offense last year that took a quarterback that has one of the biggest arms in all the league and somehow made him 26th in the NFL in average depth of target is just criminal. It should never happen. And Kellen Moore has vowed that that's not going to be the case this year. You look on the offensive side. I mean, really good left tackle, really good center, really good right guard. You go along with Austin Eckler and Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, and you've got Justin Herbert in there. I think the offense is going to be able to put up points and score a ton of points. Then you look on the defensive side of the ball. There's some dudes on the defensive side of the ball for this team. I mean, if they can actually get J.C. Jackson to actually play good as well to go along with Davis and Samuel and then James in the secondary as well. You got Bosa and Mack who's going to be rushing the passer. This is a loaded team. It's just getting them to actually do it week in and week out. I'm going to fall for it yet again. Chargers second in this division. Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, and Raiders for me, flip-flopped for Mike.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.